Welcome back to my High Plains Life. I'm Danielle, your host, and it is October 25th. It's a Thursday. I know it's a Thursday because it's Thursday night football. The Houston Texans play the Miami Dolphins, and I'm cheering for JJ Watt. Woo! Clowny too, sure. The rest of the team. I apologize for the glare. I couldn't adjust the light any better. We actually have a sunny day today, so there's going to be glare off my glasses. Well, let's jump right back into things. Okay. On the needles, I have no FOs. Let me bring up my list of whips. I have no FOs because they were all last time. I have been working on quite a few projects though, and haven't been monogamous. So that's another reason I don't have any FOs. I could have finished up my Runa cardigan by Gudrun Johnston. I finished up the sleeves. I'm onto the hood, but I haven't put much work into it, and that will be shown why later. Skipping ahead to acquisitions, I have a new bag. This, yes, that's right, folks. It's an Atenti. Look at the furry pom-poms! Oh my god! Sheepskin, fake. I wouldn't mind real. I mean, we eat sheep. Blue and tan plaid. Beautiful, gorgeous, leather straps. This was a splurge. Complete splurge. Hello, birthday, Christmas present to me. I could have bought a lot of yarn for this. Could have bought a sweater's worth of yarn. But it was one of those saw it, loved it, had to have it. And that doesn't really happen very often. I might say, oh, that's gorgeous, or oh, I love that. But I can always step back and logically think about, do I need it or do I want it? And if it's just I want it, does it fall within the budget? Okay. Empty water bottle. And, oh, it's got pockets in it and a zippered pocket. I love it. Okay, but we are here for the Runa cardigan. And I finished the sleeves. They go to seed stitch. You have another Latvian braid on there. I love it. And then a little bit of ribbing just to do the cuff. These are only about 3/4 sleeves. That's what the pattern calls for. I followed the pattern. I did the length. I think I might have even done a little longer than the pattern called for, which is completely, opposite of what I normally do. And I might have done a few more decreases. So it's still not a tight fitted sleeve, but I'm very happy with it. Like I said, I wasn't worried about using up the extra yarn going a little further because for the band, I can always buy another skein. I have one full skein and this left. This should get me the hood, hopefully, and the other skein should get me the button band, and if it doesn't, I just buy another one. But, okay, so sleeves are done. I did not do them two at a time. I did them concurrently so that I would make sure my decreases matched up. Then, I've hardly done it all. I've done maybe one repeat of the pattern. You pick up the stitches, 7 stitches you have left, pick up around the back of the neck, and again on the front, and you start your flying wing stitch pattern again. So you can't even tell where I picked up. Yay! This has not gotten much love, like I said, because of another project I've been working on. So that goes back in my Attenti bag. I just pet it every time I see it, and I want to play with the pom-poms. Okay, so that is whip number 1. Whip number 2 that has gotten a little more attention simply because I have taken it in the car with me around to things is my vanilla socks in Plymouth Yarn Zeno superwash wool nylon blend in a green and black gradated. Yay! Sock 1 is done. I have a hoe. Does that count? Heel, spacious OMG heel. I don't know. I hope it fits my dad's foot well. I did the leg a little longer than I realized. That's okay. It's just starts to get tight on my calf. Hopefully his calves aren't fat like my mom and mine. And if it does get tight, he can always just scrunch him down a little. So, hoe, finish that one up. And just started the second toe. Isn't it cute? Have a little bit of yarn barf, but it's okay. I don't have any knots in it yet, and I can see how it'll untangle, so we're safe. Okay, so this has been my travel knitting, so it has gotten some love, but not tons. Something, whoa, balancing act. Okay. One of the interceptions for Boston Jen's The Downseller Studio Pigskin Party knit along, which I've been doing. One of the interceptions was pull out an old whip and frog it. Wow. So I pulled out a couple old whips. This is from Camp Loopy 5 years ago. This is the Evolution shawl. It is, I think it's a free shawl, so I think I can show. Evolution shawl by Rachel Henry for the Fiber Factor. It is a pretty shawl, and the theory behind it is that you start, teaches you how to do a garter tab, and then you start with garter stitch, and then stockinette, and then you do some ribbing, and then you move into simple cables, and then you move into some simple lace, and then you get into some complex lace where there's no resting rows and it's knitted lace on both sides, the front end. I had read charts before, but I hadn't ever done lace front and back until after I took the lace knitting class by Galena at my LYS. Oh my God, I should have just done it. It's so easy. Follow the chart. Instead of the purls back, you just follow what the chart says. Yarn over knit, knit 2 together, whatever. So I got all the way through sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and stalled out on section 6, which was the complex lace. I love this yarn. It's Classic Elite Alpaca Sock. So it's a merino alpaca. Maybe some nylon, I don't know. It's this beautiful tonal light green. So soft because of the alpaca. Ugh. Can't believe I'm in the middle of a row. Of course I am. Can't believe I let this sit in Area 51 for as long as I did. Because I love it. Chow Gu, size 6. And I love them because they're actually really smooth. I think they're coated with something. But they still provide just a little bit of of grip so that my alpaca lace yarn doesn't fly off. Take it back. This is a fingering weight. Alpaca sock. So you start with your garter stitch, move into your stockinette, then into, oh, take it back. This was a little textured section. Can you see the little textured diamonds in there? When I block it out, you'll be able to tell. The lighting's not great when I come up close either. So that has little diamonds textured in it, just done with slip stitches. Then you get into the little cable section. Again, just really simple 2x2 cables. Then you get into the easy lace, which is just some simple yarn overs and decreases. And that's where I stalled out. Was right there. So I pulled this out, contemplating whether or not to frog it. Again, I don't know why this sat in Area 51 so long, because as soon as I pulled it out, as soon as I touched it, I was like, oh my God, I remember why I love this so much. And then I thought, is it just the yarn I love? Can I frog it and repurpose the yarn? And I thought about it. And there is a project I could have used it for. But the alpaca does have a halo. It's not sticky like mohair, but frogging it would not be as simple as putting it on a ball winder and ripping it out. I don't know how well the yarn would hold up. And I was already 80% done with it. I liked what I had so far. I looked at other projects, finished project pages, and I was like, I love it. It's a beautiful shawl. I started section 6 with the double complex lace knitting. Not that hard. Very pretty easy, actually. I am done with chart 6A. I have chart 6B and chart 6C to do, and then the bind off. Boom. So instead of frogging this for the pigskin party interception, I have been working on it, and I'm going to finish it. It's not going back into Area 51. I'm going to finish this evolution shawl. No deadline, but I think I'd like to get it done by Christmas. So, okay. Since this was a whip, this does not qualify for my Batter Up cowl for Innocent Knit or my Pigskin Party cowl for Down Cellar Studio. But I don't want to put it away again for fear it'll be a long time before I pull it out again. So, just doing a little bit of work on it here and there. Another project I've been working on, another whip, is my prayer shawl. I have put more work onto this. I know I said I just wanted to knock it out. Hasn't happened, but I have worked on it. It doesn't look like it ever grows, but it does. I promise it does. The yarn, the skein of yarn gets skinnier and skinnier. So this is my prayer shawl. Again, it's just a simple triangular garter stitch shawl, basic. But hold me accountable again. I've been working on it. Okay, now the whip that has taken my time away. Spoiler alert, if anyone else is doing the Stephen West Mystery Shawl Knit Along, spoiler alert. Okay, Clue 3 dropped last Friday. Clue 4 is going to drop tomorrow. I am not even halfway done with Clue 3. Almost, but not quite. I got just a little bit behind on Clue 2, and now I'm even more behind on Clue 3. I'm just like, ah. But again, it's for fun. I'm not letting it stress me out. And I don't really care if I see spoilers or not. I like to start with the pattern and start knitting myself and see how it's going to develop and then go, oh, aha, it's going to be gorgeous. And then look at other people's photos. Those people that whip it out in under 24 hours, you guys are insane. FYI. Not taking it back. You're crazy. Yeah. Okay. This is my Stephen West texture time. Oh my god, I love it so much. Ta-da! Yes, I have yarn hanging all over because that's what you're supposed to do. So section 1. Okay, I showed you my yarn choices last time, I think. I changed my contrast color 4 to this Handmaiden. It's mohair silk. Lovely. And I thought it went better. Knits up a little differently, but I'm using the copper orange as the main color because when I swatched it up with the teal as the main color, it just ended up being a little dark. Do I have my swatch somewhere? Yes, I have my swatch. So that's the swatch with the teal. It's the main color, and it was kind of dark. So when I did it with the orange as the main color, it lightened things up a bit. And I went with that. And then I did section 1, clue 1, which is gorgeous. It's this gorgeous jellyfish shape. We went from a jellyfish to a manta ray. What will become next? Brioche, beautiful. And if you just look at this center section with like the curve, and then it goes out, and then it comes back to the center with my colors that are kind of like on this side, orange and red dominant. I was like, if you squint your eyes, it looks like Our Lady of Guadalupe. With like the Latin colors and the mantle, like, yeah, okay, the robe around her. So this is red and orange dominant. You turn it to the back. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Brioche, baby. Clue 2 were Latvian braids. Can you see that? I did it in the blue and orange. This is really hard. I'm sorry, my lighting sucks. Latvian braids, and then contrast color 4 squiggles in between. Kind of blended more than I wanted it to. I wanted my braids to stand out more. So I did try doing it in the red and teal. And I didn't like the way that looked. It was too different, I guess. Section 2, braids and squiggles. Section 3. This is kind of cool. It's garter ridges and stockinette ridges, and it's even more squiggles. Like this emphasizes the squiggles. Isn't that pretty? So I do not have clue 3 on this side is almost done. I have like 6 rows left. And then I get to do it on the other side. So right now, this is what my shawl looks like. Crazy. Not in my color comfort zone. It's way more orange and red, warm colors than I'm used to. But I like it. Stephen West gives you permission to do anything with your colors. So I'm liking it. Having a lot of fun. Gonna work on it, try and finish clue 3 tomorrow. It won't be done by tomorrow morning, but maybe tomorrow night. So this is what has been keeping me engrossed, and the majority of my knitting has been working on my Texture Time Cal by Stephen West. Very, very excited. I talked earlier about pulling out my evolution to see if I could frog it for the pigskin party and reception. I did not frog my evolution shawl. However, I did frog another old whip. It was my Montego mystery knit along shawl from, again, 5 years ago. I chose the half circle option, lace shawl with beads. I got maybe a quarter of the way through, stalled out. I wasn't enjoying it. I frogged it. How exciting is that? So yeah, I have some beautiful Malabrigo sock yarn back in my stash that I can use for something else. So I've gone through my stash. This is not acquisitions or whips or anything. It's just kind of FYI. One of my knitting friends is knitting the Marled Mania cardigan, and she's doing it in blues and greens and grays and purples, and apparently it eats yarn like crazy. She's trying to do it out of scraps, like stash scraps and half skeins, and she's asked the rest of us in knit group if we have any scraps that we're willing to give her. So I did go through my stash, and I did find some. So these were from my Eden Prairie shawl that I made 5 years ago. I still have, it's almost half a skein of Zitron Unisono, 100% merino. Beautiful. I'd keep it, but I don't want to use it for heels, toes, or cuffs. Well, heels or toes, because there's no nylon in it. So, ain't using it for socks. And it's got beautiful variegation, long color changes. So pretty. Another Zitron Unisono, grays. This is leftover from making socks for my husband. I think it's Cascade Heritage. I don't know if she's willing to do fuzzy yarns or not. But a green, blue, a little purple, and a little splash of green. So I found gee, you think I have a lot of greens and blues? Yes. Some of them were at least half skeins with nylon in them, so I saved them thinking I can make shorty socks or even taller socks for me. And a lot of them were self-striping, which I figured she did not want to put in her Marled Mania cardigan. So, taking these to knit group to share with the knit sib. And that is one thing that I think is absolutely great about having a knitting group. This time it was her asking if we had scraps that would coordinate with her project. Next time it might be me. Like I have knitting friends, a group of knitting friends that we all share the same obsession and everybody understands, and you have that resource to pull from and to coordinate with, and it's just, I love having a local knit group. I do have acquisitions. I showed you my Attenti bag, and I also bought yarn. When I was out in Phoenix last Christmas, I wore my etched Rio wrap that was in my Handmade in Cash silk. And my mom's like, oh, I love that. And I'm like, you're not having it because this is like $200 in yarn. And I love it. It was a beautiful green-blue color. But I figured that was a good pattern that is easy for my mom to wear, because the etched Rio wrap, you actually seam up a section of the side. So it's kind of like a poncho. But you do it in a yarn that has enough drape that it looks like you've just thrown a shawl around your shoulders. I figure I would knit that pattern for my mother, and I looked through yarns. I chose the Plymouth yarn Estilo. Estilo? Yeah. It is 80% fine merino superwash, 20% mulberry silk. So it's got that beautiful drape. There we go. It's this oatmeal color. It's lovely, very neutral, but it's still got, it's not variegated, but the silk, I think, gives it brighter sections. Does that make any sense? It shimmers a little more. So a neutral with silk that'll have lovely drape to it, and I'm going to do the Etcheria wrap for my mother. So I bought 3 skeins of this, and it's in my project bag with the needles and the pattern ready to go. Additionally, I have been stocking, since several of my projects are previous whips that don't count for the current cowls I'm doing. I'm looking for projects that I can start and it will be valid for the pigskin party, etc. Because I'm not going to be knitting on my texture time forever, right? So I've been looking at 3-color lace weight shawls. I have 2,200 yards of silky alpaca lace. It is in 3 different colors. I have a blue, like a medium blue, a dark green, and then a variegated color that has the blue and the green in it. Together they make 2,200 yards. I have wanted to use them in something forever. So I just said, I'm like, let's pull the trigger on it. So I did a search and settled on 3 favorites. One is Concrete by Anka Strick. It's more of a wrap, and it uses 3 colors, but they're more color blocked, which is fine. It will work. It's very simple, but it only uses 1,300 yards. I'd have some leftovers. So, the other one is the Potpourri Shawl by Dominique Trad, I think. So the Potpourri lace shawl uses 3 different colors, and it has different textures in the different sections, and they kind of run together. It's really pretty. Check it out. The third option is one I've had favorited for quite a while, and what I initially thought I would use these skeins for. It is the Echoes of Color by Joji Locatelli. It uses 3 colors. Again, the yardage only uses 1,400 yards, so again, I'd be left with extras. And it's got fringe on it. But I don't know if that's me or not. You can knit it without the fringe, but I don't know. But I like the Echoes of Color. It's a triangular shawl versus a rectangular wrap. So that's another drawback. See, look, you guys are already helping me work through which project I want to do. I'm going to include photos of these 3 shawls and set up a poll in my Ravelry group, My High Plains Life podcast, Ravelry group. Go check it out. Take the poll. Help me decide which shawl I need to make with this beautiful alpaca silk lace weight yarn I have. I have done no spinning, but I did finish up the Neapolitan yarn. That is pretty color accurate. So it's like the strawberry chocolate vanilla. Ha! Neapolitan. It's only about 120 yards. I think it is a fingering weight. I tend to underestimate the thickness of my yarn, but I think that is a fingering weight. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I had a blast creating rolags off the blending board and spinning this. It was so much fun. I'm not a pink person. I love this yarn. So again, and it's a blend of fibers. It's not too rough. It's pretty soft. I don't know fits next to face soft for like a collar hat. Maybe I could do it for the top of the hat and use a different yarn for the brim that would go over the forehead and ears. Something that coordinated. That's an idea. Ooh, to follow along with spinning, I also received several alpaca fleeces from a family member. She lives in Omaha and apparently knew a lady who has some alpaca, and she'd sheared them and had extra, didn't know what to do with them. I'm unsure of the situation, but she had 2 garbage bags of alpaca fleeces. It's at least 2 fleeces because there's 2 different colors. So she grabbed them, and she actually just visited here a few weeks ago and brought them with her and dropped them off, and I've got several alpaca fleeces now. I have lots of alpaca. I love alpaca. It's so soft and warm and fluffy. So I have not cleaned an alpaca fleece before. Everything I've had has been processed. But I know somebody who has like one of those, I call them a chili roaster, but it's like the big metal drum that you just put the fleeces in and spin it around to shake out all the dirt. And then obviously I can wash it like a regular fleece. So we'll see how that goes. For the moment, it's in the basement awaiting processing. But I really appreciate them thinking about me, and my plan is after I get it cleaned up and do some spinning to have some yarn to send back. I know my family member knits. She's mainly a quilter, but I know she does knit. And I don't know if the lady who owns the alpacas is a knitter or not, but I thought it'd be nice to send some finished yarn back. So that's the plan. No deadline because we know how I am with those. Under the needle. Sewing projects. No, I have not kept up with my Prairie Women Sewing Circle projects at all. However, I am into baby quilts. I have pregnant friends. They are not finding out if it's a girl or a boy, which seems to be more and more common these days. So, interesting. I asked what they would like, and they said their theme for the nursery is space, like the solar system, but something that is gender neutral. I love it because it's scientific, it's intellectual, it's something that even if it is a girl, you can say girls love space too, and I think it's something that will last longer than just through like the first 2 or 3 years, something that will grow with the child. So I think that is a great idea. So the solar system, space, and you're not stuck using, like pastels, and nothing wrong, pastels, just not my jam. Okay. Went looking for some fabric, found the cutest pattern that I want to make. I am making, and yes, there is a deadline, end of January. I don't know when the baby shower will be. I'd like to get it done by then, but definitely at least by the time the baby's here. So this pattern is called Cosmic Glow. It is by Jane Spoler, and it's 46 by 58 inches, which is crib size-ish. I love it because not only is the quilt front a design, the quilt back is a design. And look at that! It's a panel of the solar system! And it includes Pluto. I'm sorry, how many of you grew up with Pluto as a planet? The quilt shop did not have all these fabrics, and some of the fabrics that they had were just in a kit put together for another quilt. and they have no more of that fabric left. Here's the other quilt, In and Out, which again is a really cute solar system, blah, blah, blah. But this has a star. Get it? Star and a star? Ah! I'm a geek. It's okay. Own it. And so I didn't want to make this quilt, but I wanted some of the fabrics that were in the kit for this. So I just bought the kit. I'll use the pattern for something else maybe, or not. It'll just be in my stash. Making this panel on the backside. Isn't that cool? So here are all the fabrics that I have for it. These are way more fabrics than it'll take to make a crib size quilt, front and back. But these glow in the dark. Oh my God! So this glows in the dark. This glows in the dark. Part of the border. How pretty is this? The white little dots, stars, glow in the dark. Glow in the dark. Does not glow in the dark. Glows in the dark. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And then, of course, just some coordinating fabrics. Look at, that's supposed to be like a nebula. Isn't it awesome? Yes, I am totally geeking out about this, and it's all right. Why? Because it's a baby and people are allowed to be excited about babies and quilts and glow in the dark. I am so excited. I have washed. I normally do not pre-wash fabric, but this is going to be for a baby quilt. I want them to be able to wash it because I want them to use it in the future. So I pre-washed all my fabrics, so they're all pre-shrunk, nothing bled, none of the colors, none of the dyes bled. And I'm going to start cutting probably tomorrow because I'm going to work on my texture time calc today. But I am so excited. I cannot wait to cut into this fabric. Normally I'm like, don't cut that. It's too pretty. But no, I'm going to slice and dice this. It's going to be so cool and glow in the dark. I have nothing for in the garden and nothing for in the bee yard. As far as off topic, we have been doing some house cleaning recently. Instead of spring cleaning, it's kind of been a fall cleaning thing. We had our carpets cleaned. Oh, so happy. Love it. Need to get it done more frequently, which I tell myself all the time. My mom called the next day and she's like, what are you doing? Staring at my floor. It's so pretty. It's okay. I admit to the crazy. Now it's time to clean and organize the garage. Now that we've got stuff out of there. I did start with that this morning. I didn't even get maybe a quarter of it done. And I'm exhausted. The shop vac and we're not on speaking terms anymore. But it will get done. We'll clean it out and Brian will be able to park his car in the garage again. Another thing that's coming up is Rocky Mountain Brewery, which is one of my local craft breweries here. And it's not just local, it's probably the one closest to us that I do go into regularly and I'll pick up a growler from. They're so cool. I thought they were cool when they made a dog park a couple years ago. Hold on, Willow. They're a brewery and they have a tasting room, but they're not allowed to serve food. So they have food trucks outside that do serve food. And they have a little patio area set up. A couple of years ago, they built a dog park, just, a fenced play area for the dogs. Thought that was cool. No, got an invite this week. They are having an axe throwing pumpkin contest. Oh my God. Have to go. I'm trying to do a little something every day to keep the blues away. I call it the blues because it's that time of year when you're not really depressed, you just lose a lot of motivation. Um, Trying to do something besides knitting every day, whether that's doing a little bit of cleaning up or organizing, or even just like pulling everything out of one of the cabinets and wiping it down and reorganizing it. Willow, taking the dog for a walk. While it doesn't seem like I'm doing much, I feel like I'm keeping myself busy. I am all caught up with my video podcasts. I'm a little bit behind, maybe Willow, just by a couple weeks on my audio podcasts, but I'm all caught up with my video podcasts. And actually, several of them that I used to watch are no longer blogging. So I am looking for some new video podcasts. Does anybody have any recommendations? Please give me some ideas, throw them out there. Comment in the Ravelry group. I'd really appreciate it. Willow and I thank you for watching. We hope you have a good weekend and a happy Halloween. Enjoy yourself. I can be found as DannyGirlCO on Ravelry and Instagram. And show notes can be found at www.myhighplainslife.blogspot.com. Thanks. Bye.